sorry, Jan. You're definitely probably going to have to edit some of this. So, Jan was so cool to do this piece for me over winter. For Christmas 2018, I commissioned him to do a sketch of Donnie versus Guts in his Berserker armor, because I am enthralled with Jan's inking style. So, before we get into talking about Donnie, commission Jan to do some fantastic character sketches for you, because you'll not be disappointed. If you're unaware, Berserk is one of my favorite stories to read. I've been reading it for 15 years now. It's been being created for 30. It was one of the stories that made me fall in love with storytelling, to the point where it's something I really hadn't seen before. You have this badass character who's pressing forward. He's been not really engaged with life until he came across Griffith, who led a band of mercenaries, spared Guts his life, and then he became part of his mercenary crew, until he found a point where he decided he had wanted to move on by himself, earned his freedom back, and had left. And this left Griffith very distraught. He moved along his plans much faster than he, I think, was going to. And this caught them in some limbo that their fates kind of seemed tethered together at this point. We are, I want to say it's chapter 358 is the latest release. Along the way, Guts gets this Berserker armor, which is this magically infused armor. Starts out as a skull helmet, and this armor is so powerful that it needs blood to be as powerful as it can. So it crushes the person who's wearing it to the point where they bleed into the suit, and that's how it gets its power. There are many instances that Guts comes through a fight by the skin of his teeth just because this suit is crushing him. He's impervious to pain. One of the great side effects to this armor suit that the wearer doesn't know pain, but it is slowly killing him. And I think the major last battle that he had with it, fought a sea god, and was literally crushed to the point where he was losing the ability to see straight. He really took a good beating with that one. This Berserker armor is some of the coolest armor. The first time he tried it on, he had the helmet for just a little bit, and then this Hellbeast persona exemplified itself in the actual armor itself to the wolf cowl that he now wears with the Berserk armor. Check out Berserk if you get a chance. It's incredible. Like I said, it's one of my favorite stories. I've got artwork all around my room for this stuff. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. And kudos to Jan for making him look so badass fighting Donnie and some other zombies. So.
So this right here is Guts from Berserk, and I am just doing a little study because I know Berserk and I know the main character, but I've never seen him. I guess I just never got that far in this full-on armor. And so when I first saw the image of what was asked of me to draw, I was a little bit like, holy, this is like 100 times worse than drawing Darth Vader. Because, you know, like, the armor is the armor, so how can you put your own spin on it? Which is, of course, ridiculous. Of course you can. But you do, I don't know if you, like, when you see people draw Darth Vader, they tend to draw from the same stills, they tend to draw from the same imagery, And so they all tend to draw him as good as they are able to do, which means they all end up with exactly the same thing because it's a mask. And that doesn't have to be that way, but it's just kind of, you know, the way it seems to be. So this mask, just to draw a study of him and just to get an idea how this all fits together. He's got like a shoulder thing here that is almost like a shell, and everything is, you know, like a spider web design of scales that just slot in, and then at some point they clearly just overlap, you know. So you can just very quickly do a little bit of shadow on one end, make sure that you keep this white so you don't have to draw this line like pretty, or, you know, I guess that's kind of how I'll be able to build it up. But for the basic outline, I need to figure out all these parts so I can move him around myself and make my own Guts in full armor drawing for my commission. And so the first obvious things that come to mind are some dramatic angle, like serious violence. Okay. I've just made a little study of Guts from Berserk. I thought, you know, in the style of manga, I get to enjoy drawing extreme angles. So this is like the sword slashing in, like in this direction, through a crowd. Donnie is about to get the chop, you know, like on his knees, heroic pose, holding that massive sword. And then here, I figured it'd be an overhead swing, and I've just got this really cool idea of having people's arms chopped off, chopped in half. Lots of zombies from I Never Forgot being chopped up in the background. And then today, if there's still any ink left on this one. So the idea is to do this just fast, just as fast as possible. This is gonna be manga inspired, so I kind of want to have some crazy perspectives. think I like this one the best, but I need to have more space for Berserk himself, more of him in the panel.
Quite cool.
The sword clearly swinging that way, chopping someone up, holding Donnie. Let's make that more clear. Like all these people running away, all these zombies. This one I feel is a little bit forced. Like I like this perspective, but then I feel like he's shoehorned in, so that's not gonna work. If I could get this cut lined up with the sword, so he's cut in half as he's walking away. Nice big shot of Guts himself. That would work. And then you can have like background zombies here, like, yeah, just to fill it up a little bit. So this is the character from I Never Forgot by Ox. That has to go right in here. You can already see glimpses of him here.
So you guys want to know a little bit about Donnie, a zombie creature character from my own series. I Never Forgot, about a drifter wanting to accomplish one last goal before he can pass along happily. Donnie is the zombie character from my series, I Never Forgot. He is the main character's best friend who has succumbed to this zombie infection, illness, disease type thing. And within the first issue, Zeke has to bury his best friend and leaves roses on his grave as a marker. Donnie, knowing how much this final quest means to Zeke, comes back, snatches up the rose bush that has been planted on his grave, and he's going to ensure that sees its way to its final destination as well. You follow him in the background of this main story throughout the 13 issues that it's going to be running. Donnie is the right-hand man to Zeke. And now that Zeke has lost even that, the world is much bleaker than it even used to be. We see Donnie dealing with his own bumps along the way. He's only seen briefly in many issues, but he is no doubt in the background, culminating to this last final roundup that will be happening in issue 13. We see him along the way. Zeke tells V about his past and whatnot, and even to the point where you see where Donnie had gotten his wings tattooed onto him by Zeke. There is a very real friendship between the two, and I think that's the motivating factor that keeps him alive and pressing forward through both of them wanting to accomplish this last goal. So, check out my story if you want to. It's over on Webtoons. You can search for I Never Forgot. It's up through issue 9 right now, so you can check that out. Read it for free over there. If you so inclined, you can support me on Patreon. I am showing new pages all the time over there. If you want the newest pages available, that's where they're going to be released first. I'm really excited about these last few issues, especially having that artwork done by Jan himself to show off these two badass characters just supporting each other and doing some cool shit together.
And I've decided I'm gonna go with this one, so I'm gonna make a different version of this, well, I guess it's a little bigger than a thumbnail, but this hand nail. And so I've done that right over here in pencil. So let me just show you. If you can see, I needed, like this is a really cool panel like this, and I really like the pose, but I needed this to be more center stage. So I figured I'd make a different drawing right here, where Donnie's a little bit more to the side. Can still make him bigger, but he's more front and center, so to speak. And there's lots more action, a horde of zombies being cut up into tiny little pieces. suppose the magical thing about the magic tape is that it's not gonna ruin your paper. Look at that. It's for calligraphy, so let's see how we can draw with this baby. So what we've got is, as you can see, very clear figure in the foreground, moving his arm towards the stroke. It is like full 3D now. There's going to be some white lines here to clarify that. Also, like, because this is through the stroke, there should be less black here to make it clear that there's something moving through the foreground. I think, let's grab this for a second. So his blazer is like full on 3D foreground. His tie is being cut up. This should probably be moving up very clearly. Again, this is an ink sketch. This is really for me. I hope I can get the same kind of energy in the finished one though, because it's kind of looking awesome. Shows how massive Guts is. He's punching someone out who's flying backwards over here. Sword careens forward. There's like little arms I forgot here. Maybe that's too much. I hope to get some blood splatter in here in the ink. So what you are looking at is the reproduction of those roughings, as I'm calling them. I've redrawn everything. It's pretty much in perspective and proportion and all that. A little bit more detail. I've been finding, because the whole time I thought this Bristol paper is too smooth. It's too smooth and pencil is not going to grab onto it. So I decided to draw on the back, which is still pretty smooth, and it actually looks pretty good, to the point that I might just draw with pencil on it a little bit more, just for experimentation's sake, as I'll be erasing a lot of what you see as I'll lay on fresh inks and go in more detail, the actual pencil will not get in the way of the ink latching onto the paper. Some of the lines are kind of essential, so I redrew those in blue pencil to make sure they're harder to erase and stand out to me, so that, you know, like when I come back to this the next day, I don't get lost in my drawing and forget some of the details I did see, but that my imagination filled in the day before. So I've arrived at a delicate moment. I've got the foreground figure in, I've got the second figure in, and I want to keep doodling here and work on his armor and get all the moving parts in, and I think I'm there. But I want to keep doodling, and this is the point where I need to, like, I want to put in some more clear outlines to make sure that it's obvious that this is his arm and like it's being chopped up and all that stuff. But at the same time, because this figure is in the foreground and I've got a lot of high contrast here, because I want you to look at these two figures, right? I want your eye to be drawn at this battle. Over here, I kind of need him to recede in the background. So I need to keep this light, and this is the point where I'm like, okay, I need to just back off, and that is the hardest thing. I was also thinking of maybe having a pile of bodies here, of zombies, so to make this darker, and then this will stand out more. That could be cool. And it would give a nice little contrast on the page where it's like, you know, like if this is darker, then this is all gonna jump out at you a lot more. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video here, just to wrap things up. Now that you've seen the whole process that I go through, and this, I think this piece took about, let's see, we are right over here. Just put it up for a second before I send it out so I can have another look at it. See if I might have to add a little dab of white out. So the whole process for this one took a couple of days. Just spread out, just because I'm trying to find the time to actually make something at this size and detailed. But you know, so should you be interested, let me just show you what I've got right here. I've got two sizes. There's the A5 size, and the Bristol over here is the A4 size, or US letterbox sized. The size for commissions, and then I tend to throw in some extras as well, like the sketches I make, they come with, and the level of quality I tend to work at. Let me just show you, now that you've seen this one piece, but like there's just for you guys to see, little Fantastic Four. If you're interested in getting a commission, then just send me an email to yannemalart@gmail.com. Obviously, you can find me on social media. You can hit me up. I will respond. It's just to keep things a little organized, you know, and easier for me to keep track of. Some Aquaman just in time for the movie. All these are on sale. Some of them are taken. So check for availability if you like what you see here. And this one, I always find it a little hard to read, but this is probably my personal favorite. Batman descending in the rain on a gargoyle. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. And stay tuned. Subscribe. Like the video. Leave a comment. And be sure to check out some of my latest videos traveling around the world and filling up my sketchbook, like this one right here in Boracay, the Philippines.